If you ask the people of any country at any given time the following question, do you think the current government is a good one? I can tell you this. The voters who chose the opposition party in the election certainly won't believe it's a good government. Some of those who voted for the current ruling party will regret their decision. And of course, there are many citizens who don't vote at all. According to statistics, the approval rating of most governments during their term rarely exceeds 50%. And more often than not, disapproval ratings surpass 50%. So why is it that, across democratic governments around the world, the public so frequently opposes those in power? I believe you probably already know the reason. These so-called democratically elected governments are often incompetent, inefficient, and fail to deliver results. The inaction, corruption, foolishness, and ineptitude of politicians are widely recognized. Aside from that, the truth is that the current democratic electoral system itself has systemic flaws, and I will explain this problem in detail. In fact, a country is like a boat. You are all in the same boat. And there is a useful comparison to be made between a country or planet and a boat. Every boat must have its captain, but to run well, it requires skill and a spirit of cooperation among the sailors, as well as their respect for their captain. If, as well as being knowledgeable, experienced, and quick-thinking, the captain is also fair and honest, the chances are great that his crew will do its best by him. It is, ultimately, the intrinsic worth of the captain, regardless of his political or religious leanings, that will determine the effectiveness of his operation. Imagine, for example, that a captain had to be elected by his crew, more for reasons of politics than for his skill in navigation and his cool-handedness in times of danger. To imagine the situation better, let's suppose we are watching an actual election. We are standing on a leading dock where 150 crew members are assembled with 3 candidates for command of a ship. The first is Democrat, the second a communist, and the third a conservative. Among the crew members, there are 60 with communist leanings, 50 Democrats, and 40 conservatives. Now, I am going to show you that this affair cannot be conducted appropriately. The communist candidate is obliged to make certain promises to the Democrats and conservatives if he wants to win, because he is only guaranteed 60 of the votes. He must convince at least 16 men from the other parties that it is in their interests to elect him. But will he be able to keep the promises he makes? And, of course, the same applies to the other 2 candidates. When one or the other of these captains is at sea, he will always find that a significant number of his crew are fundamentally opposed to his having command, so there is always a significant risk of mutiny. Of course, this is not the method by which a captain achieves his command. Fortunately, I merely wish to illustrate the dangers that are inherent in electing leaders on the basis of political bias, rather than for their ability to lead people honestly in appropriate directions. While on the subject, I must emphasize another point. When our captain-elect is at sea, he is the one and only leader of the vessel, whereas, when a party leader is elected as head of state, he is immediately confronted with a leader of the opposition. From the very beginning of his leadership, whether his decisions are good or bad, he will be systematically criticized by an opposing party bent on his demise. How can a country be properly governed under such a system? And is there a solution? Of course, the only solution is to follow the example of the government of Mu. If you want to know what kind of government that is, you can watch this video. In short, this is to place as head of state a leader whose unique goal is the well-being of the people, a leader not motivated by false pride or party and personal pecuniary ambition, to do away with political parties and the resentment, the grudges, the hatred, that go with them, and to hold out your hand to your neighbor, to accept him and work with him, regardless of differences you may have. He is, after all, in the same boat with you. He is part of the same village, the same town, the same nation, the same planet.